hit the button again. Round 2, we're good. Kuroshi, what's good with you?
I'm good, man. How is everything?
A lot better now that I see that OBS is cooperating with me. And I'm looking at it and I'm watching the levels to make sure ain't nothing wild going on.
Shout outs to OBS.
Oh
Hey, you
man.
know what? It's free, right?
Yeah. I got what I
Like,
paid for.
can't complain too much. But not too much. Been at tournaments, been commentating tournaments. A lot of stuff this weekend. A lot of stuff last weekend. A lot
Yeah.
of stuff various games actually.
Yeah, that's been the talk. And I'm not even gonna fluff it too much about trying to rebuild what we were talking about in the last cut. You said
hmm
commentating. Hit me with it again. What have you been commentating lately?
Tekken and a lot of Soul Calibur.
Oh,
Yeah. You know. Yeah, I was at Atlanta Battle Opera, hosted by Pokechop and 404 Esports.
okay.
And we did some stuff for the Red Bull event, and it was
They
pretty good.
they gave you some wings?
Yeah, pretty much. Got some wings in there. Uh, of course. How can you go to H Mart, right, and not get some wings when you're there? Get
Eh,
the best Korean fried chicken I've ever had over there at Haru.
I
God, it was so
still
good.
I still have not been to 404 yet.
Really? You should
Yeah.
head over there. Give Greg a shout out. He'd appreciate that.
I I gotta find the time when they're doing something that I play. That's been my problem.
True, and I think your problem is you don't play video games.
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, you got the FGC retirement fund, right?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I get grandfathered into any commentary booth for like 90% of the games.
True. But to be honest, though, you do a fantastic job every time you're on.
I'm glad somebody thinks that. I mean, thank you.
Take it while you can. Take it while you can.
But
uh,
what were you commentating over there? You said ABO, right?
yeah. It was Tekken. We did I think a fantastic job. Me and Kyle, International Sensei, the local commentator, usually does NRS stuff, but getting his feet wet with Tekken.
Does
And
NRS does NRS stuff? According to one DAP VIP, there are no NRS players in the state.
oh, well, that is unfortunate. Man, I wonder why that could be.
Mm,
On some real stuff though, the NRS scene down here is a little bit scattered, so I could imagine why he could say that. They don't really get to come to tournaments a lot, but they have some of the best players in the world. You got Ninja Killa, who is a Atlanta local, doesn't show up to locals because he's in school.
last I checked, he went all the way across the border, not the southern border, the northern border, to go
hmm
beat last year's esports player of the year, Sonic Fox, in his own
Yes,
game.
yeah, you may have heard of him. Yeah, you may have heard of that guy.
And then Ninja Killer mopped him in his own game.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. So we got talent. They just don't get to usually travel, right?
Yeah, it happens,
And
sadly.
when you're the talk of like the NRS world, that's big money, and a lot of people care about that. So good for him. But that's not to say we don't have talent in other games, right?
Right.
Got world class BlazBlue players. Got Fame, of course. Got Tectal. We got tons of other tournaments coming up. We got Scrot, who actually just won Melty Blood at CEO Taku.
That man. So that story is so good because that man had Japanese hitmen sent
hmm
from some of the grungiest arcades to take his head, and they
Yeah,
failed.
yeah. I mean, if anything, he had the strap on him, right? CEO has the strap, and you got to keep it on you at all times. You never know when the Japanese are going to come for your crown.
Oh my lord, the heat.
The literal heat.
Hot down there in Orlando. Jeez.
Florida men at every corner.
Oh man.
But good for him, and good for the scene in general to have such a strong talent pool. To really show up and outperform everyone and do well. Like nothing but good things so far from this weekend. Especially DatVip won a dead game. Marvel 3.
Wow. Oh my lord, dude. You gotta just blow him up like that. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Darius and I go back, so
He got a
it.
trophy finally, yeah.
Yeah, about time. Now, I'm kidding.
Mm.
With a low tier Iron Man, of course.
Not gonna say anything about X-23 or Dante, right? It's all Iron
No,
Man.
no, 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 no. It's just it's all Iron Man, right?
Wah, 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 nah, nah.
Of course, got to have that in there. But no, it's been good, and I think the Georgia scene's actually been at its best. Uh, for a very long time now.
Yeah, like
Like, we actually have Street Fighter players too that do well.
Neon and Terrence
Yeah,
being the most notable two. I was about to say, I'm thinking about it. Like, name a game we don't really have players in. I can't think of one.
I can't think of one. Yeah, it's like the first time ever, and I'm really happy that the scene is thriving right now. I think that Sam Show might be a little bit weak right now, but that's because a lot of us don't travel, and the old men played, Sam Show.
Bates just went down to see Otaku and did fairly well.
That is true. That is true. Fairly well is as well as he's gotten so far. No, I'm kidding. No,
Wow.
Big Bates is probably one of the better players, I would say, that plays the game, but he spreads himself so thin amongst all these games that he plays. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, that
He,
man competes in every game. How does he even run a bracket? Something, it's just something that I had to like think about. I went to a +2 on block, right?
right.
And Bates's name was in every bracket for
That
games I didn't even knew he played. He competed in Tetris.
yes.
Did you know he played Tetris? I didn't know.
I knew he would try. I mean, I was there when he got sponsored into Battle for the Grid, so I know he'll try anything.
That is true. That is true. I mean, if anything, back to the original point, because we got a little bit sidetracked there.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, people are thriving. Tournaments to see, tournaments to play in. I think the FGC is in a fantastic spot now.
You say we were getting off track, but it's actually gonna lead me down the rails a little bit because for all the
Oh,
tournaments that are happening in the state, we got one coming up next month that you're gonna be at, right?
it's true. Climax of Night.
Now, this is one of the three things I wanted to ask you. You're gonna
Mhm.
be there, and you're not
Yep.
gonna be competing, right?
I am not going to be competing. I'm actually going to be having an art booth over there. So some of the designs that I've made in the past, I'll have them on sale as prints. Some shirts, of course. Some new ones that I haven't even unveiled to the public yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Something you might see, maybe something uni related, of course. Gotta
You
gotta
can,
represent the French bread.
you can keep that one. Don't
Not
ask
a
me
big
about that
fan.
game. No, don't ask me about
Uh,
that game, bro.
okay, all right, understandable. You know what? Each his own, right?
Yeah.
But it's fine. I think the uni community will like what I bring, of course, to the art booth. And I'm really happy that Ben Shinobi gave me an opportunity, and I also designed a shirt for them for the event.
Is it just one? I
Uh,
thought you did two.
I made one big design. It was originally gonna be two,
Okay.
but we decided to just put it together. And I think it looked a lot better when it came to fruition. Of course, it's the Nero Chaos walking through the city. Of course, Magic City in the background. And if you want to catch that, you gotta go over to Climax of Night's Teespring, get that shirt. I know Shinobi will be proud to see you wearing it at the event.
I think this is the part where I put the Adult Swim bumps in there.
Of course, gotta get those in there. I think it's gonna be great. I mean, Climax of Night is it's a big opportunity for not only the Melty scene, but for the Southeast to have another premier tournament. I think.
And Melty, Undernight,
TV
Dengeki.
tag. Yeah, like underplayed games that you don't really get to see a lot. From scenes that actually put the work in. You know,
Yeah.
like they've been in the poverty seat for a while, as everyone jokes about. But
Literally everybody, which was one of the big
literally,
talks all the weekend.
oh my god, the Jabali post. Oh no.
The thing that gets me about that though is like
Mm,
that kind of
that's a TO, right?
well, no, not that specifically. That
Uh,
he's trying to get in on a joke, but like that persona has been around really tournaments as a whole, the fighting game community as a whole, forever. But
oh yeah.
it just everybody randomly decides it's a problem now, and that specifically, not any of the other things that have ever been said.
Hmm.
It's That just kind of
I
struck
think,
me as odd.
and I have to agree with you. I think that now it's quote a problem because people want to be taken seriously. You know, they were okay with just having fun with it for a long time, but now that you got people looking at you, from the outside,
Yeah,
potential sponsors, all sorts of things, you got to be a little bit more, professional about it. Of course, you can have your jokes and stuff in private, and everyone will still make the joke regardless. Haha, get the laugh out, right?
yeah.
But at the same time, as a scene, you got to kind of look past it a little bit. Gotta, not get so uptight. If someone's making a joke, it's probably out of good fun. Nothing malicious, of course.
So we
But
hope, but
yeah, that's as much as we can do in 2019. Is just hope no one's being malicious on the internet.
oh man, which is why we're gonna just hide in the climax of night, right?
Hmm. Pretty much.
So,
But it's a good look.
but past that, since you haven't been playing anything there, you still been on that caliber?
Yeah, man. Every single waking opportunity, actually, right now during this interview.
What?
Hmm.
You're playing caliber right now?
Yeah.
what? Who you playing?
Siegfried.
No, okay, you're playing Sig. That makes Sig. Sig's your main. One of your main.
Yeah.
Who are
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
Who are you playing against? What player?
Oh no, I'm just in the lab, of course. I'm not like playing against anyone right now. I was, and then I was like, you know what? Let me put a little bit of focus towards the interview, of course,
I
out of respect.
I honestly would not have been mad if you were fading that hard because you're doing your duty as the
Mhm.
centerpiece of Soul Calibur in the state.
This you say the centerpiece, but I'm just doing as much as I can, right? We
I,
still have so many other people that are putting in work, but they just don't get to travel as often, unfortunately.
all right.
I gotta give a shout out real quick to Makosu, of course. He works until about 8 o'clock and then tries to run a tournament. And
Tries to run them 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock tournaments at 4 or 4.
yeah,
Oh my
for,
god.
I mean, hey, you know what? It's hard. It's
Yes.
hard to get people to come out late on a Saturday night to compete in a tournament. Especially when we have so many events in the state of Georgia now. I never thought that would be a problem, right? So many tournaments.
Literally one every day for something, and it's not just
Yeah.
Smash.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a problem that we have too many tournaments. I never thought that would happen. But here we are. And we're still trying to make it work, of course. It's hard to get people into a game that hasn't exactly been in the public eye, as often as Soul Calibur has, right?
right.
But I think that this game, this iteration of it, is actually really phenomenal. It's a kind of like moved past my expectations a little bit, and we have a season 2 coming. I never thought I would see that. The game usually dies after Evo.
You're not wrong for that. What do you find so phenomenal about it?
It's simplicity has been done correctly, if that makes sense. So you know how everyone always worries about a old game being toned down for the new blood, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Every single community has always done that, right? I think with Caliber, they did everything right. They have like a mechanic in the game that a lot of people weren't too fond of at first, called Reversal Edge,
Mm-hmm.
which is a move that for those who may not be aware, forces a RPS situation, so rock paper scissors. But it's a little bit more complex. There's movement, there's guarding, and there's different benefits and different rewards per character.
So it's rock paper scissors lizard Spock.
We can go with that, yeah.
Ah,
But a lot of people saw it as scrubby, to put it in layman's terms, that you could just kind of do it. Even though it had counterplay, it still does, and you don't really see it at high level play, unless it's for like a guaranteed punish or something, right? But a lot of people, for the lack of interest in that mechanic, kind of stopped playing it, right? But the new players kind of embraced it, and those who were still interested in it moved past the quote scrubbiness of the mechanic or whatever, and it got toned down in some ways. It costs a lot of guard meter now to do it.
like
Like,
like half of it. Not really, but
yeah,
it feels
it's
like it.
it's a lot, right? And different characters, do different things, right? They clearly want the game to be a little bit more unique, right? Like no two characters feel the same in this game, and I think that's a very, very big uh refining point that they made, right? Because like
I
in
can
older
agree with that. Yeah.
games, like Nightmare and Siegfried have always been like the low tiers Y-hander characters who didn't really do anything that was too different from each other. They just had big swords. They, some moves they shared, of course. They were like sort of like seen as the Ryu and Ken, right? The doppelganger type of characters. They didn't really do much. That was too different, and they weren't very strong. But in this game, Nightmare is a powerhouse zoner slash bully when he has you in the red gauge, and
Right.
Siegfried has a comeback mechanic built into his kit that literally makes him the scariest character in the game for as long as he's in yellow health. Why? Why wasn't this done, 5 games ago, right? And I think that's something they kind of like looked over at other games throughout the years and saw that hey, maybe people like this stuff, people like the crazy like magical anime feel to things, right?
Some people
And
do. Yeah.
yeah, I mean I think the wildness of it, how every character has something crazy and unique and like high damage output, but still kind of feels like Soul Calibur with movement. And traditional GI is back, of course. Guarded back being the GI, and
Hmm.
just a wide pool of characters, guest characters, you name it. I think that it's looking good.
So if it's looking good so far now, and you really have hopes for season two, like aside from getting another Mitsurugi, because that's basically all I can think of. All right, so real talk, right?
Hmm.
How
Hmm.
Mario? I've been playing a decent amount of Sam Show, right?
Hmm.
And how Mario, like simple swings, big damage.
Oh yeah,
That's like Mitsurugi already, to
you
some
know I thought
degree.
I thought the same thing, right? But at the same time, I think they could probably still differentiate a little bit, right? You got handless stuff or swordless stuff, obviously. Hand to hand combat for Haomaru. He can punch, kick, obviously like any normal character could. But of course, he also has a fireball, which is a little bit different. Dash slashes and whatnot. It's more so like how they did Geese and Tekken, right?
Oh,
They they broke down a lot of moves, right? All at once in different ways from every iteration of the character, right? They just put it into one, you know, defining character. Maybe some new moves, right?
yeah,
I think they could kind of do the same with Haomaru, because I think a lot of people were worried at first too when they saw like Geralt in the game, right? Geralt from The Witcher, of course. Was really basic and kind of just this general swordsman dude who fought monsters. Had some magic in there, and that was it.
literally your weekend larper. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, he's a lost D&D character, right? So a lot of people were worried about that, but Geralt actually is super unique. You know,
Yeah.
uh, from a game that isn't even a fighting game, they brought him over, right? Uh, you know, it's just kind of crazy that they made it look so good and play so well in this like 3D dynamic, right? So I kind of wonder what they'll do with Haomaru. I think that a lot of people had speculations that maybe he'll play like some of the old Creative Soul stuff from Soul Calibur 3, right? There was a katana style that had a lot of tackles and a lot of like not really too crazy swordplay, just kind of running at you with a sword out.
Huh.
So,
I haven't seen that in years, so that's not fresh
oh
on my
yeah.
mind at all.
Oh, I don't think it ever will be at anyone who hasn't really been looking too deep into it, right? But it's a lot of stuff to think about, and whatever happens, happens. And he's the second DLC character to come out, so
The thing I'm hoping for that I'm pretty sure won't happen, but it will be like the sickest throwback ever.
mhm,
Seeing how in Sam Show
mhm.
you can disarm somebody with a weapon flip technique.
Oh,
I
dude,
I was hoping
I
they would
know.
do that because that was in Calibur back before it was Calibur. I
Mhm.
call it Soul Calibur Zero. Back in
Oh,
Soul Blade,
Soul Blade, yep.
yeah.
That would be really cool, actually. I wonder if if they do have like a weapon flip, if we're gonna get like a subset of weaponless moves.
That's what I'm saying. I want to go back to when I was a kid
Oh
and
man.
I was over there DDT and Rock with Mina.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that'd be so cool. Especially since you could have like an emphasis on like just basic neutral at that point. Pick up your weapon in a 3D realm too. Ooh man,
good luck.
right? Oh my god, that'd be so cool. But again, speculation can be you know the biggest thing we could do right now. As far as speculation for the other three characters though, people want it to be a lot of returning members like Setsuka and
Yeah.
of course, Yunsung is being talked about, and Hwang is being talked about. Which one of the two Koreans is getting in? Right, that's the running joke at this point, and I hope that we get like some surprises.
You know, it'd be a crazy surprise that just crossed my mind because
Hmm.
I forgot that they're both Korean. Yo, why not just meld them into one character? Like,
Dude, Hwang with Yunsung moves.
no, like a tag team. Like,
All right, now
like one bar, but just make them a tag team. How sick!
that would be insane,
It
but
would
I
be
would love
unique.
it. That'd be super unique. That is definitely true. Oh my god, I couldn't even imagine like because they did have a switch mechanic in Soul Calibur 4. It
That was,
was strictly casual.
bro. That was one thing that I actually forgot about. We joked about this in the Ojo, where one of the sickest things that could have happened for six was to have
Mhm.
Caliber tag as a mode. Just
Oh
straight.
my god.
Yo,
Oh man.
what you know about catching like Cassius throw or command throw with the shield upper, and then you have somebody like Mitsu coming over the top with the wheel, the
Mhm.
jump. Oh, tell me that wouldn't be gross.
That'd be ridiculous.
That's what I want in season two. Give me Caliber tag.
That'd be ridiculous. I mean, that'd be really cool, especially since like you know, as a casual mode, right? Even that'd be something that would get people's attention aside from just like character hype and the usual, right?
Yeah,
Granted, though, I do want to see a lot more people maybe try the game after season two. They didn't really. I know a lot of people always say like, "Oh, I tried that game. I didn't really like it when it came out because I heard of this, this, and this." Right? It's like, oh, but did you really try it? You know?
so you're
So
saying you want people to come back after Aswell's been kind of chopped up a bit?
I mean, yeah. As well as always going to be that character that gets talked about, right? He's extremely strong. I wouldn't say he's unbeatable, right? Because we obviously know that he is beatable, just judging by like tournament results and, of course, recent tournament results and Evo and whatnot.
Right.
It's just a matter of he's hard to beat because he is so strong, right? And he has some weaknesses, but they're not exactly weaknesses that you can highlight with a lot of characters. Like his sidestep is kind of weak, right?
Yeah.
And he's not the fastest character unless he's in sword mode, but even then,
If
that's not saying too much.
if he's in sword
He,
mode, he has a 10 frame launcher.
yeah, exactly. But aside from that, he's not exactly doing too well, right?
Understandable. Yeah.
In the speed department, I should say.
Yeah.
But that's not a downplay. He is extremely strong. Probably sees the most positive tournament results out of any character in the game, other than Ivy, I would say. Who remains to be seen as probably the best uh, character overall. I think throughout all the iterations of like the series, like she's
Yeah.
never been bad, like ever. Like Caliber 5, she was mid tier at most.
That's still doing pretty good, especially if that's
Yeah.
your low point.
Right. And then every other game, she's a powerhouse, especially this one, right?
Yeah.
We've been seeing Ivy in grand finals multiple times now. We even saw an Ivy grand finals mirror at I think it was Summer Jam or not Summer Jam. No, it was Summer Jam. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was insane. It was Sane
And
and
then
Incendiate. And we got to see Sane win in winner's side, 3-0ing Zephykai in grand finals at KITX.
has Dragon been playing lately?
Not lately, no. I think his focus has been on MK and whatnot
Yeah.
ever since the game came out. Of course, I don't blame him. That is where he comes from. But we're always welcoming. So, and I think that that's the other thing too is when you see players at a high level drop a game, a lot of people who are on the casual end of things don't really want to give it a try again.
Yeah,
But
that
I would,
is a big thing
I
that
feel like
happens.
influencers. That's a good way of talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Being an influencer is a hard job because you could be the either the death of a scene or the growth of it. And I think a lot of people in those roles, right? They understand that, and sometimes it's inevitable, right? If you're not interested in a game, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong when a lot of people have misconceptions about a game, right? Even with Tekken or like Blaze Blue, Cross Tag and whatnot. Like people say Cross Tag, they're like, oh, it's just Marvel. I'm like, not really. You know?
Keeping in the realm of Soul Calibur, one that kind of crosses my mind in this is Street Fighter
Mhm.
Five, because you
Yeah.
talk about it in the beginning and you see all the people who played it in the beginning, and then you see the people who leave it. Notably Sonic Fox, because he messed around with Soul Calibur for a bit, and that
Mhm.
took a lot of steam away from the game. Just like you're saying, so many people who have the power, who still have to make the choices they want at the end of the day, have to live with
Mhm.
the responsibility of walking where they want to walk.
Exactly. Exactly. I think that's another thing that people don't notice a lot is like even like with for example, you see like top Tekken players, right? Like for
Yeah.
example, John Ding. He actually plays Street Fighter. He actually plays really well in Street Fighter sometimes. But it's not gonna take his focus away from his main game, of course, right? But the fact that he's still consistent about, playing the game at a high level, it says a lot about the kind of character, he has as a player and the willingness to just play a game he wants to play regardless of what people think, right?
Yeah.
Same with Sonic Fox, right? Of course, his focus is usually on Dragon Ball these days, and
Sure as hell
you
didn't
know,
sound like it yesterday or whenever the winners final was.
oh yeah, he started playing Tekken recently. That was whew, man, I do not envy that scene. Uh, I played NRS games for quite some time during the downtime between Caliber games, and man, that boy can mix people up.
I always have to laugh at this. So
Oh
last year, DreamHack, Poke
yeah.
Chop asked Sonic Fox if he was gonna play Tekken, and Sonic
Uh huh.
Fox said, "I'll wait for the next one."
Mm.
But here we are, 1 year later, and everybody's like, "Hey, he's in top 8 of wherever it was."
It was CO Taku, right?
Oh, was it? I know he's down there. I didn't even think they had Tekken there.
Yeah, yeah. It was I think Cody actually ended up winning it, the Kazuya player.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So good for him, of course. But yeah, no, Sonic Fox is a phenomenal player. Um, and I would say that the influence that Sonic Fox has over other players wanting to play certain games is huge, right?
yes.
Like I know people who drop teams in their games because Sonic Fox dropped a team.
Sadly, pretty common. Yeah.
Yeah, like it says a lot, I think, about the amount of influence you have as a player at that point over the general public, right? So I think it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's something you have to be aware of, especially when you like a game at like a specific level, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you maybe don't see it enough, right? It's probably because of certain things like that. But regardless of all those, right? Evo was a phenomenal tournament for Soul Calibur, I would say, right?
One of your
We
favorites?
had 740 something people had a lot to say about that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Was Evo one of
pretty
your
big.
favorites so far for Soul Cal 6?
I would say so, just because the level of international competition was massive. I didn't like that at Evo we didn't get that many casual stations the following day on Saturday, regardless of them being in use or not, right? But we still managed. The scene always pulls through. It's not our first time not having setups on a on another day, right?
Yeah, it happens.
But a single day's worth of Soul Calibur was huge. And I think a lot of people put in hard work that weekend, and Utoto inevitably came up on top with Voldo, and really showed people that you can play the character in another way, right? So that being said, it made people really think about tier lists and like character strengths and what you can and can't do within the realm of the game to really win at a high level, right?
At a level that a
So
lot of people struggle to get to, but they hope to attain at some point in time in their life.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's the one thing too, the willingness to just keep trying.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, that is hard. Because staying consistent is already bad enough. Telling someone they gotta keep trying hard with a character that they may not believe in, that's the hard part.
Yes.
Especially since we can even see it in our top players, right? Like, um,
Party
for those
Wolf?
who may not be, yeah, Party Wolf, yeah. I put out a tweet yesterday where he said he just wasn't really confident in the character he knows how to play more than Cassandra, right? Which the other character is Keelik, of course, but um, you hit those highs and lows as you compete, but you just gotta keep trying, right? And that's not to say that a character may be bad. but it is hard to be consistent as a player when you have a lot to worry about on the line, you know? And player mentality is one thing I don't think a lot of people talk about in the FGC, right?
Nah, it's like maybe once a season you hear about it, if at all.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that's one thing that people don't really talk about, and I wish I would see more talking points on that, on like commentary and stuff like that. More focus on the players as like during the game, you know? That'd be really cool. But of course, time is everything, and you may not have time to highlight some of these players' strengths or whatnot, or maybe the commentators may not know what makes that player strong or what they do that separates them from the pack.
It kind
But
of depends on the scenario, because it's like
Mhm.
it's a question of do you get players, or do you get an opportunity to actually know the players? This is something that I actually have a decent amount of problems with my commentary, because I usually get thrown into like pools or something kind of last minute. So there's a lot of times where I don't get the chance to research the player, right?
Right.
So I don't get to understand a whole lot about how they operate, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, like what do
Mhm.
they do for their character, how they use their character. And
Right.
then you also have the aspect that some people like about like how is the player physically at the point? Like, can you see it in their body language that they're feeling excited, feeling frustrated or something? And depending on how the commentary setup is, you might not be able to see that.
Oh yeah. I can't even count how many times I've been behind the desk and like there's no player cam, so I just kind of got to ride it, you know. And it's rough. It's rough at times, but uh, for players to I guess get over that that slump of theirs, right? Like, cause you can obviously see it in their play, right? You see like a someone get hit by a DP, right? In like Street Fighter, right?
Sure, you
And
can.
exactly, and their entire world is just shook. They stop doing things that they were doing 2 minutes ago that was good. You know, they stop like moving correctly. They stop basically playing the game like how they were before at a good pace. And getting over that mid match, I don't think people really talk about it enough. How difficult that is as a top player, right?
I'm pretty sure you just described the death of Georgia in Sam Show today. Because we were actually talking about that in the Sam Show Discord. That's what happened to Bates. He was over there,
Yeah.
one win away from top eight, over in the loser side, and I think he took Tabamashi, Ukio overhead, took one of
Hmm.
those in the face, and
Oh yeah.
kind of just fell apart from the
Spamagaishi is
Sapama guys. Thank you.
yeah. It's a move that tilts you to the sun and back. You know, like you're a part of the space program at that point when you get hit because you just go flying across the screen. You take like a quarter of your health for no reason, and all because you decide to block low.
I mean, your
Yeah,
ankles are okay in Sam Show, man. Let's be real.
it's true. It's true. That's just another thing though, right? It's like player mentality is such a really cool like talking point, I think, that we don't get to see a lot, right? And you see it in like high level sports talked about a lot, right? Like why the QB make this play, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were waiting for a response. It was like, man, I can't think of the last time I watched football,
Yeah.
like last Super Bowl. But
Sorry,
I get your point. I get your point.
in sports ball, we'll go with that. But
Sports
yeah,
ball, is that the one where they kick it?
yes, that's the one where they kick it. But of course, I think that's really cool. And man, I really just want to, I guess, like highlight one thing in particular.
What's that?
When you see people talk about a game, it really helps to have commentators that know how the game is played at a high level, right? You see, like high level players do commentary all the time for other games, right?
Yes.
And it really, 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 really brings out uh that deeper level of knowledge and understanding and the genuine excitement you hear from them. I think that's what makes good commentary enjoyable too, right? Because if you look at the Tekken commentary team, it's all like ex pro players or really high level players. So, and former Evo champions and stuff like that, Evo finalists. And then you look at Street Fighter, and it's like very deep analytical commentary from other players who've been playing the game for God knows how long, right?
Okay, I see where you're walking now. Keep going.
Yeah. So I think that's where it kind of gets to like a talking point for a lot of people to make commentary enjoyable, right? So
Hmm.
I see like Blaze Blue and I see Eunice and I see all these other games have like really good deep analytical commentary, and you know, it gets to the point where you wonder if that's what people want or if they want like the yipe style of things, right? Where it's like tag games are so fast paced and crazy and you see them explode in like 5 minutes, and or it's like DBZ and you get hit once and you die over the course of like 30 seconds, right?
Yeah, it be like that sometimes.
So I don't really know which one people like more, but maybe because it has to appeal to the style of the game, right?
It's from what I understand,
Hmm.
because I mean, I guess I got to throw my fluff out there. I've been commentating for literally over 10 years.
Oh yeah.
You can't please everybody. Like there are some people that have come up to me and told me I'm one of the greatest commentators they've ever heard because I sit down and I explain what's going on.
Hmm.
And then there are other people who come and told me you're so amazing because you're actually into it. You know, you actually you get hype when something's happening. It makes me want to be interested too. But
Hmm.
I've yet to find somebody who like genuinely loves both sides, just like the actual analysis of what's going on, and just a base level of
Hmm.
pure. I I, I guess I have to say hype. I want to use another word,
Yeah.
pure excitement, like pure
Yeah.
excitement for something that's going on.
Right.
So it's a tough balance. It's a
Yeah.
hard balance to find.
Yeah. I think that's what makes a good commentary duo, right? And that's also what makes it interesting for people. When I think of like excitement with analytics, right? I think of like Dota, right?
Oh
Uh,
man, he said the D word. Keep going.
I said the D word, right? But when you hear like a good like team fight being like shoutcasted, right? It's some of the best stuff you've ever seen because it's filled with gasps and fast talking, and people still follow it to a
Yeah.
T. That's what makes that exciting. Even in like, people may not like the game as much, but like League of Legends the same way, right? A MOBA with like team fights that casters genuinely get into, and I think that is such a really deep like point in the game, right? Everyone's been building up this excitement, the tension's high. You get to the point where, you know, it's like health bars getting low in a fighting game. Everyone starts sitting on the edge of their seat, watching for where the mistake's going to be, who's going to capitalize on it, right? And I think that's what highlights like more the excitement and the analytical aspect all at once. You know, it's hard to get that balance, like you were saying, but if it's done right, it's done
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So aside from that, though, yeah, no, fighting games are great.
I'm actually surprised you didn't walk to where I thought you were going with all this because you were talking about like how much you enjoy Tekken commentary because you get
Mhm.
like real players, how much you
Oh,
like Street Fighter. And I was just waiting for you to walk to Soul Calibur.
well,
I was thinking you were gonna walk maybe towards the Invitational.
the Invitational, I think a lot of people were not super into the picks, I should say. Right?
That's what I've heard. Yes.
Yeah. So, and we don't know if it's finalized or anything yet. But I'm not really one to say that I'm against the picks,
Right.
but I was surprised, if that makes sense.
I get you.
Uh, it's not anyone that I would have expected to see, uh, I guess, do like a finals together with like without the analytical aspect. You know what I mean?
I get you.
It's a lot of hype commentators, who who are not bad in their own right in any way, shape, or form. But I think that's what a lot of people have had complaints about with the game in the past is that there's no like deep analytics, and I think that people want that, right? And I don't know, I want to throw my hat in the ring, but I guess it's too early, right? Because I've done a couple of events, did Combo Breaker, did Final Round, did DreamHack, KIT, and I do a weekly stream with Boom of AXL. We have a show called the Illuminati Institution on Twitch every
Right.
Friday at 9, right? 9 p.m. Eastern. And we'll have show matches, first of fives, between players of all skill levels. So our first night we had Fame and Party Wolf. Uh, that was like 7 weeks ago.
How bad did Fame get bopped?
It was 5-0, but you know,
Oh, okay.
but the point is, it was a bad matchup. No, okay. The
Clearly.
yeah, no, it was rough. But the thing is too, though, we did like a live commentary, play-by-play analysis, and it's for the community by the community, right?
Right.
And the whole point of it is to give people that extra bit of knowledge to help bridge the gap, maybe, right? Between the low level to the mid level and the mid level to the high level all at once. And we'll get high level players in there and we'll get your mid levels and your low level players in there. But the whole point of it is to improve, right? And we had our first tournament, the Illuminati Invitational, this past Friday. It was a 6-hour stream. You can catch the VOD on twitch.tv/AOBoom. And it was pretty solid. We had a sponsor, our local junk food arcades. Shout out to Ajax and his dad. They make some phenomenal sticks. I just want to throw that in there.
I actually just ordered a snack box, the hitbox case. I'm
Oh
a
yeah,
I'm gonna slap together my own hitbox.
dude, those things are like indestructible.
I
There's
there,
a like a Twitter video of them running it over with a truck.
yeah.
That was like I was sold. I was sold immediately.
So that's where we're gonna put the life savings, right? Put the will and everything, just lock it away in the junk
Oh
food
yeah,
box.
we're gonna throw it at the bottom of the ocean. No one will ever find it. Have a search team go find it. But at the same time, though, we had this really good event. We ran super late too, so next time we're gonna start way earlier, right? But we had a 42-man bracket. It's pretty well done. Really solid turn of events. We had a guest commentator. We had people hop in to give their feedback on some things. We even did interviews, and we had a couple jokes in there, some memes. You know, everyone likes the memes and whatnot. And the
Do they
educational.
really?
Yep, come on,
I mean,
who
I'm just
doesn't who doesn't like a good laugh,
uh,
right?
um mm,
Mm,
keep going.
anyway, but regardless of that, it's all pure fun for the community and whatnot. And we've even sent someone to a tournament before.
Really?
Sporting one of our t-shirts and a tag, Boominati. That's what we've decided to go with. So
Wait. Boominati.
yeah, Boominati's the tag.
Where is your claim in this, man?
Well, I'm simply the one who brought the idea together. So I came up to Boom one night and I said, "Hey, man, I don't know if you ever watched the stream before, and I'm gonna plug this as well.
Go
Uh,
for it.
of course, you know everyone talks about tension pulse in the Guilty Gear community, right? And I thought,
Mm,
and I thought to myself, why not do one of those for Soul Calibur? You know, they do such a phenomenal job.
yes.
We could do something for our game, same format, even, right? But you know, a little bit different, maybe in tune with the scene itself, and really just you know, bridge that gap between low to mid level to high level. And it's worked out great so far. People love it. We've gotten great feedback, and I'm excited to do more because it gives us something to build upon for the community. And these guys deserve it. Some of them are, you know, hardworking players. They don't really get to go out as often. The online players, of course, right?
Yeah, that
Those are the ones we're putting our attention towards. So we want to get someone who may not be talked about as often out to a tournament, you know, through
so
their online exposure.
that's one of the nice things to do because yeah, like you're saying, you have the people that they play the game. You see them online all the time, but they
Yeah.
might have like they might not have the income. They might
Mhm.
live in the middle of nowhere. This
Yeah, really.
common stories that we've
Especially
heard.
speaking of middle of nowhere, like Rich Six, one of the best players in the world, lives in Iowa with like one other player.
He lives where?
Exactly, Iowa,
People live
right?
there.
People live there. Yeah, no, we would have never even known about him had he not gotten the online exposure, started streaming, and gotten the support to go out to tournaments. But maybe somebody doesn't want to stream, but they're really good, right? Could name countless players out there who are really good online players who haven't got a chance to go to a tournament yet.
Dogysamich.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think it's great to be able to give somebody a chance, you know, especially since they may not be getting that chance themselves, you know.
Yeah.
So that being
It's,
said, how much you need, Dougie?
I mean, this has been more than enough. actually trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to hit because
Yeah.
you you hit Caliber. We
Yeah.
knew you were gonna do that. You hit a bit of Tekken.
Uh. Uh huh.
I was gonna ask you about your art career, your art gallery,
Okay.
and you
Thank
hit
you.
that as well. So that's pretty much everything that I've had on my mind.
All right. Yeah. Well, there we go. I'm glad
Bef-
I could be here.
Thank you for the time. Thank you so much for the time.
Oh no, thank you for the opportunity. I'd love to be on here.
Before we pack it up, though, and I mean
Uh huh.
you've probably done more than enough of this already, but is there
Uh huh.
anybody else you want to throw some shout outs to? Anybody you want to throw some ups to?
Ooh man, that's gonna be a tough one. I want to give a shout outs to the entire Georgia scene for just being so welcoming. Honestly, to like anyone. These guys literally will just be like, "Yo, you want to run the set? Talk to you, laugh about it, go eat, have dinner, all that stuff." Right? A good strong scene for multiple games. But I want some of y'all to actually play Caliber a little more.
Ooh, you might be asking too much there, Chief.
Ah, come on. Well, you know I had to. You know I had to do it.
Yeah,
Had to get my shameless plug in there, of course. But uh, everyone in the Caliber scene, of course, you know who you are. Boom, Geo, Party Wolf. You know, if you're on the stream every night, having a good time with us, shout outs to you, and shout outs to Dogysamich, for doing this interview series. Finally, everyone wants to hear the hot opinions and the hot takes.
that's why I'm just getting everybody out here to do it for me, man.
Understandable. Well, I'm glad you're doing this, and you know, looking forward to more content in the future.
Oh, it's coming,
Oh
but,
yeah,
but
can't
that's
wait.
further on down the road. Because for now, we're gonna have to be up out of here.
All right, sounds good to me.
Peace.
Take it easy.